What do you get when you combine ancient cooking methods with China's most common food? A delectable Cantonese dish and a Hong Kong favorite called bo zai fan, or clay pot rice. I wish we cooked rice like this.
You can?
Yeah, I know.
Hey guys, we're here in the West Village, about to head to Clay Pot NYC, and I'm here with food blogger Ewa Huang. Now, we're about to see a classic Hong Kong style dish called clay pot be made.
And clay pot is a perfect dish for a freezing day like this, as it's traditionally eaten in the fall and winter in Hong Kong and Guangdong. It really warms you up, especially on these chilly days.
So let's go inside and see how it's made.
This感覺好似喺紐約行咗入去香港個餐館入邊。
好鍾意咁樣講，yeah.
That's Alex Yip, the founder of Clay Pot NYC, and that's Julian Yu, Clay Pot's head chef, who's been making clay pot rice for over 10 years. According to Chef Yu, who is from Guangdong, clay pot cooking is popular throughout all of China, especially in southern provinces like Hong Kong. Archaeologists estimate that people in China have been cooking in clay pots for 20,000 years. Even after Toshiba released the first commercially successful electric rice cooker in 1956, many people preferred the traditional method. The reason lies in the vessel itself. When cooked inside of a clay pot, the rice gains additional flavor from the earthen pottery. The clay's porous material allows the rice to breathe and absorb the flavors from meats and vegetables included in the pot. But the best part comes from the bottom of the pot, where a crispy layer of rice forms. This is known as fondue. But what makes a dish so special in Hong Kong? Alex says it comes down to Cantonese culture, which heavily influenced Hong Kong's modern culture. In the 1940s, Hong Kong saw a mass wave of Cantonese immigration after millions of people fled mainland China during the Communist Revolution.
Cantonese people are very family-oriented. Nothing brings together a Cantonese family better than a pot of rice. And because Hong Kong is actually 90% Cantonese, I think that's why it's a signature dish.
廣東菜以鮮為主，乳鑊炒嘢嚟講就乳鑊氣為主。我覺得煮煲仔飯呢，睇落簡單，但係其實好多嘢都比較要用心機去做，所以差唔多係好似一個藝術咁。
So in Hong Kong, especially on Temple Street, you'll find just restaurants dedicated to just clay pot, and they will have like 60 plus variety of toppings. Like you can get anything you can imagine essentially on it, like fish head, liver. There's like endless arrays of topping because you can get so many different flavors because each meat is so different and flavors the rice differently. But in Hong Kong, it's usually cooked over like a charcoal fire, and you'll sit at like a crowded table with usually other people with you. You smell the clay pot, you hear like the sizzling, and it's just like a very true, authentic Hong Kong experience.
When opening Clay Pot NYC, Alex wanted to bring Hong Kong tradition to New York City with a modern twist.
I grew up in Chinatown. My dad and mom came from Hong Kong in 1976 with nothing. So all we could really do is eat clay pot. We had no money, so we would walk around Chinatown and we usually go to get a clay pot. And I saw them slowly starting to disappear as Chinatown was being gentrified. So I wanted to preserve my memory of my childhood.
It starts with long grain white rice that's been rinsed and washed in salt and is put in an oiled clay pot. Chef Yu adds water to the rice and brings it to a boil over a hot flame. Temperature control is key here.
This is what can make or break the clay pot. You know, the fire is so important because you have to time it perfectly, and if you don't, you can actually end up burning the rice.
It's also crucial that the pot sits still while the rice is cooking. Otherwise, it will disrupt the fondue from forming. This is where clay pot cooking relies on the human senses, particularly sight, hearing, and smell. First, Chef Yu tilts the lids so he can see when the water is boiling. After boiling, he needs to check when the water is fully evaporated. After a visual check, he lowers the heat and tilts the pots on two sides for 5 minutes each. During those 10 minutes, Chef Yu needs to carefully listen for the crackling sound of the fondue forming.
聽唔聽到？佢嗰啲飯焦喺度。
Yeah.
Chef Yu also has to smell the distinct aroma of the fanxiu to know it's ready.
It's really hard to describe with words, kind of like with feelings. It makes me feel like I'm at home. I really can't. It's just a very homey smell. It's got this like aroma that's very pleasing.
The chef cooks meats, vegetables, and other toppings and adds them to the rice, which continues to cook for several minutes.
This is the part when the rice is actually breathing in all of the flavors.
Before serving, final garnishes like soy sauce and scallions are added on top. I'm really excited. It was so amazing to see how the clay pot dishes were made and like how labor intensive it is, especially how
care and love
yes,
in these dishes.
yeah, and like how time sensitive it is.
So the sauce that he's drizzling on is like a sweet soy sauce. It's house made here, but it's not as salty as regular soy sauce is. So we have two different toppings.
Okay.
So I have the traditional lapjang. It's like a very traditional Chinese sausage that you find a lot in Cantonese cuisine. Mm-hmm. It's rich and fatty and a little bit more sweet than I think traditional sausage that people might be used to, but it's incredibly addictive.
All right, let's dig in.
So yeah, then you want to mix everything together so you can get all of the different textures in this dish. So you have like the crispy golden rice from the clay pot, and then the center of the rice is like soft and fatty from the meats seeping in. Yeah. What do you think?
It's so good. I'm a lover of rice, but this, it's like all the different textures in a rice. Like it's not only soft and tender, but then you get the crispy rice from the bottom. And then also I really am enjoying the sauce that he just drizzled on. It's sweet, yet not too sweet, and then it just adds a lot of dimension to the flavor.
So if this is your first time eating clay pot, I would definitely recommend going lapjang if you eat pork. If not, I think eel is a really great as well because they add a lot of like flavor to it. If you're vegan, vegetables, tofu, and you'll still get a lot of flavor too because you can add ginger scallion sauce, you can add the sweet soy sauce, so you won't be missing out on anything. In the ginger scallion sauce, it's really just ginger, scallion, salt, oil. It's very classic Cantonese sauce that you find in a lot of different dishes.
I think I'm more on like the salty, savory when it comes to like my dinner dishes and like rice dishes. So I think I'm someone who would definitely put a lot of this ginger scallion sauce into the dish. When I heard about the crispy rice at the bottom, I thought it was just going to be like, you know, like at the end we're like scraping it off, but it's not really edible, but it's actually very edible. And you can hear the crunch every time I bite into the crispy rice. Like it's very much cooked well and throughout. And that's also very fun to eat because I think in a lot of cultures, I feel like when the rice is burnt, they tend to throw it out or they tend to say, like not use it and not eat it. But in this situation, it's actually very much complementing the dish.
It's a really comforting, casual dinner dish. It's something that you can eat with friends. It's something you can eat on your own. You can get like a bunch of different clay pot dishes with your friends to all try different toppings. So it's just a very communal type of cuisine.
If you're cold and just hold the clay pot.
But be careful because when it first comes out, it is very hot. So maybe at the end.
So maybe at the end, but don't touch it right away, just at the end.
Yeah.